Hey everyone, how's everybody doing out there? Looks like the little algorithms are going out there. This is awesome. And guess what today is, everybody? It's Rah Rah Friday. Woohoo! Yes, love, love, love Rah Rah Friday. So, hey everybody, it is Rah Rah Friday. I'm excited to be here. Welcome to my Facebook Live. It is the Rah Rah Real Estate Show where we talk about home, inspiration, life, and where every day we move people with heart. I am Patricia Love, and I have the website RahRahRealEstate.Love, and I have a no-cost real estate service nationwide where I help buyers and sellers find the best realtor for them in their particular city. And in addition to that, I also provide tools and support and strategies throughout the transaction and the transition. So check out my website, RahRahRealEstate.Love. Give me a holler. It's free. Let's see what I can do for you. I love to help. So today, I am excited. Today, we will be talking to Robert Clancy, a gifted technology entrepreneur, best-selling author, and we will be talking about hope and happiness and decoding a life of joy with his new book, Soul Ciphers. But what do we have first? We've got Fancy. Here we go. Woo! We got Fancy. Hold on, we got to get this. We got to get this party started. We got Fur Baby Friday with Fancy. And Fancy has a few shout outs. In fact, we've got a little extra one to shout out today, too. So, Fancy, are you ready? I think we're ready. Okay, we have Barley. We have Barley, a 5-year-old Great Dane from Columbus, Ohio. Thank you, Connie, for sending in Barley. You like Barley? All right, we have Boston, a 10-year-old rescue kitty. Love that. She's part Maine Coon. Sent in by Kathy G from Spokane, Washington. Woohoo! All right, we have Tinker. Tinker, Fancy. Tinker, 11-year-old Scottish Terrier from Victoria, BC, sent in by Jill Johnston. Thanks, everybody. We got Barley, Boston, and Tinker. And guess what? We have a surprise one. We're going to leave it one more shout out. Miss Lily. She is a King Charles Cavalier Spaniel, and she's 5 months old, 7 pounds. And guess who the owner is that one who sent that in? Mr. Robert Clancy. So thanks, everybody. We are going to be having a great show today. Fancy, you got to take off. But I want to remind everybody to make sure that you send in your fur babies. I will shout them out. And don't forget that I have the Homeward Bound Fur Babies. That's hashtag Homeward Bound Fur Babies, because any missing dogs or cats or parrots or whatever, I'm putting them up on my website, making sure that we can maybe get them homeward bound. So let's get this party started. I'm really, really excited today. We've got a special guest here today, and I'm going to put him on right this minute, but I'm going to introduce him first off. This is Robert Clancy is in the house. Hey, Robert, how are you?
I am outstanding, and I love the energy. So
There's a lot of energy here between Fancy and the rah-rah stuff we got going here. But first off, I'm excited to have you. I'm going to introduce you first, because then I can get that out of the way, because I got so much to talk to you about it. I'm very excited. So first off, we have Robert Clancy. He is a gifted technology entrepreneur, a #1 best-selling author, spiritual teacher, inspirational speaker, and minister from New York. At age 19, Robert had a divine spiritual experience that greatly altered his life. In 2012, he started Robert Clancy Guide to the Soul Facebook fan page, where he shares his divine inspired thoughts now for over 500,000. Well, I'd say over 600,000 actually now. And then Robert's first published work is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Soul, an innovative collection of inspirational stories and transcendental journeys that will transform the way you think about community service while bringing deeper meaning to your career path and your life. His latest book, Soul Ciphers, Decoding a Life of Hope and Happiness, is due out October 3rd, 2017, which is only about a week away, a little over, and it's already a #1 international bestseller. Oh my God, Robert, this is so awesome. So again, I want to welcome you, and just quickly, I want to just tell the audience, first off, I'm excited, but I met Mr. Robert Clancy, I don't know, 3.5 or 4 years ago now. We were speaking on the same platform and on a cruise in Bermuda. He became my shopping buddy, and I told him that is there something about you, Robert? You're just a kindred spirit to me. I just connected, and I think it was when I was speaking, you came up to me after the fact and you said to me, Patricia, you have an angel on your shoulder. And I was like, I think that's my sister Ginger. She's always been there. And, every time I think of her, I think of you, Robert. I truly do, because you brought it up to me. And that's so excited. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and let's keep this enthusiasm going, because there's nothing better than to smile and have a good Friday. So,
Exactly.
Let's do it.
Exactly. Well, I want to get started first off, because you're also in technology and you're also a book writer, but I would love, before we get to decode your book in so many ways and your life, what do you think about the social media and all this stuff that's happening? Do you think we're losing compassion a little bit, or kindness a little bit, or is it going in a better way? I'd love to hear your feedback on that, because some people say, oh, this we don't have no togetherness anymore. Love to hear your feedback just a little bit on that.
Well, it's how, I've used social media to connect. And when I started my page, I had 111 fans on the page. And I decided, that day, I'm going to write one inspirational message every week for a year. And then I thought that was too easy. So I said, I've got to do this every day. And I really haven't stopped since then, and to put something positive out. So, I've gotten messages from people around the world, as you can imagine. And there was a couple people that stick out that said, I read what you wrote today, and it really positively, it affected me, because I was planning on committing suicide, and I changed my mind. So had I not done this page, there would be a family without a mother somewhere. There would be a family without a son, without a daughter. And, that's the power of this. So, yeah, we can be somewhat disconnected, but there's a way that you can really use it to connect. And it all comes down to the heart and how you can connect those together.
Well, you and I are on the same page with that, because for me, it's always, even though there's all this stuff out there, I believe we all are connected, and we all need to maybe make a little more effort to connect sometimes. But you're like me, help others. I always believe that giving first and then receiving. It's all about it. It comes back to you. So I love that. But I also, there's a couple other things we kind of have something in common a little bit. And I know that you hit rock bottom at an early age, and I hit rock bottom like much later, at 57. But, it's still the thing. So tell me how you got yourself out of that a little bit.
Well, I think about rock bottom, and yes, my feet were firmly planted onto it, and I'm glad I wasn't there that long. I realized two things, that there is rock bottom, but when you look up, there's also the way out. And when you change perspective on things, you can see, if you're in the hole, all you know is the walls, the floor. And if you look up, there's a glimmer of hope. That's light, and you head toward that. But when you are in the forest, in the valley, and the hole, you're standing next to it, it's just a hole. But then you have to cut your way through the forest, and you think, how am I going to get through this? I've gotten out of that part. I still have a lot to go. I got to blaze this trail. But eventually you're at the top of the mountain. And when you look back, the valley that you were blazing that trail through is just a beautiful journey that you saw. And you can see the vastness of it. So I look at the metaphors of, as you climb and you go, and how do you get there? One step at a time. You've got to, take these challenges. And yeah, it's not going to be easy,
right?
But you can get there. And the number one thing that you can do is ask for help. That's the key to life. You can't do everything on your own. There was a great guy I met. It was he was a skier who broke his back, and he was destined to be in the Olympics, and he ended up climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Wow. And he got stuck. There was this large rock, in the way, and he wanted to do this on his own with the power of his arms, and they had to carry him for 100 feet, and he thought he was a failure. And the guide turned to him and said, no one climbs a mountain alone.
That's so
no
true.
One.
Nobody.
So that's the key,
Just keep on going. And, I'm the same way. I mean, some people would say when I hit rock bottom at 57, which was only like 8 or 9 years ago, people would, like, how can you possibly get out of this? I mean, you're old, you're this and that. I mean, there's always those negative people. But it's like, I have no way to go but up.
Right.
And I look at all the things that were cracking around me. I looked at it like, yeah, but because of those cracks, it's letting light in. And for me, it was just, again, like you said, taking one step at a time and moving forward and not taking huge gallops. I mean, because I think what people happens when they're in that situation, they get overwhelmed because they think they need to go from here to here. When in reality, if you could just take little teeny steps, you will get there, and then you can pat yourself on the back that I did it, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that it's, I know a lot of people in the audiences, and I know your followers and my followers and stuff, and such, they're constantly saying to me, but isn't there something, one little thing that you pull for to get you through that when you're on that rock bottom? I know for me, and let's talk about this a little bit. For me, it was acknowledging the fact of where I was at. I don't know if that was something that you may have done also, is acknowledging?
It was, but it was the conscious decision to make a turn.
Okay.
And when you're on a reverse climb, you know, it's like climbing into the Grand Canyon. You go down fast. But in order to get out of that, and as you go down into the Grand Canyon, you're going into a desert, so you're getting slowly dehydrated, and you don't realize until it's too late. So you've got to make the turn to go back out. And that's when the climb actually starts.
Right.
But by putting one foot in front of the other and asking people for help, let's say you didn't bring enough supplies, you can get back to the surface, and there are people that would be there to help you. So
it sounds like the word that I use is you said use turn. I use just start, and that means today. Just start. And because I think a lot of people are constantly saying, well, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it the next day, or I'll do this. No, today is the best day we have, and we don't want to take it for granted. You know what I mean? We definitely don't want to take it for granted. So, well, it seems like you have like a natural compassion and caring for others, obviously. So who in your life has influenced you the most, or influenced you on life regarding this particular thing? And that you have so much compassion for people. I always see it.
Well, I have to thank my parents for what they brought to my life. My dad was in World War II. He was private first class. He was part of the D-Day invasion.
Oh, wow.
He liberated a concentration camp when he was there. So there was, a lot. And he volunteered for that. He signed up at age 17 and a half.
Wow.
And went over and did this because he said it was the right thing to do.
Oh my God.
So that's an inspiration. My mother was a beautician. And when I was at her wake, that's when I really understood her entire life. Because so many people came up to me and they said, your mother always made me look beautiful, but the one thing that she always did was made me feel beautiful.
Oh, see, that's very cool. So is that kind of how you keep your perspective a little bit? I mean, how do you keep your perspective on things? Is that something you kind of go back to? Because it's really easy to lose perspective.
Right. And I look at, when things happen, there's always something that gets in the way, and you're going along with your day, and all of a sudden this happens, and then you're why, this is just, I don't need this right now.
I know, right? I say it all the time.
Yeah. Like, why right now? But you get through, and then you look back, and that's perspective. When you can look back and go, now I know why this happened. Because if this didn't happen, like I had a power supply go on a hard drive, on a computer for a server, and I've got to now rebuild this whole server. I'm a tech person, so I get into that. But it was just, what I discovered was the hard drive was on its last leg.
Right.
So if that hadn't happened, I could have lost the data from that day that wasn't backed up yet. And it was about, you know what I mean?
Right.
So perspective. So when I'm in those situations where there's something happening, I try to put the perspective on it at that moment and say, all right, this is not where I'm supposed to be. Something else is more important, and it comes in. And it really becomes apparent when, if you think of the worst thing that could happen to you, and then you get that phone call, does not everything that you were worrying about mean nothing at that point? It is meaningless because you're 1,000% focused on your loved one or whatever that is. And if you can walk out of your door in the morning with that attitude, then everything goes north of the latitude. That's what I look at it.
You know what?
Bring yourself up to such a high level by having that perspective.
Well, that is so true. And I know for me also, because I know I always get asked, how do you stay so positive, Patricia? How do you keep going? And there's a couple things that I do, and maybe you can attest to this too, Robert, is when I get those days when the hard drive goes and I'm not a technologist and I'm trying to figure out where everything's going, I immediately say to myself, Patricia, breathe. Just take several deep breaths, because I find that the body itself, it gets you so riled up that you get worse. And it's like, then you're like really go crazy. But as soon as I say, breathe, Patricia, and I take really big deep breaths, I start to calm down, and then my brain starts to go better. And then the first thing I say to myself is, I am just grateful that I have this problem, because the alternative, I mean, so many other people have so much less. And so, and I think that I constantly have to say to myself, you are being upset about this stupid little thing when somebody else has no water to drink. Yeah. So
it works that way. I have a perspective of the law of attraction and some of those things, and employing that. If you had a bill that you were paying,
right,
and you are upset that you have to pay this bill and that money's going out, and you say, I hate this stuff. I hate having these. Well, what the universe does is it says, oh, well, you don't like money, so guess what? We'll just get that out of your life because you don't want it, because it's causing you problems. Versus, right. I'm grateful I'm able to pay this bill, and that I can pay them all. And there's it's a shift in your mindset of how you approach the problem, and that really does make a difference in how everything is processed and how it goes out. So I always try to keep, how do you put a positive thought on whatever that is without saying, I hate servers. I hate these web servers and computers. Well, guess what? They're going to respond by, we're just gonna take them all out then.
That's right. We're going to hate you back. God dang it.
I love building new servers. It's great.
Oh, that's so funny. It is such a mindset, though. It truly is. I am the same way, and I always take the word can't out of my life. It's like, no, I can, or I'm very conscious of my words, because I think with more people could be conscious of their words, they could change their mindset, and things would flow so much easier to them. The abundance would flow. The good life and positive vibes would flow. So I think that's wonderful. That's a great thing, a great tool for people to listen to right now. So, but I want to make sure that we start talking about some decoding here, because, Robert, you've got a new book, and Soul Ciphers Decode a Life of Joy. And I think this is awesome. Please, can you just briefly tell me, this is already a bestseller, international bestseller. So tell me what kind of led up to this book, maybe, so people can understand it.
Well, my first book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Soul, is I have inspirational stories, and really, there's an opening part to kind of set it up, and then it's beautifully, written inspirational story, because I really wanted to inspire people to go out and make a difference in the world and to change. And so many people came back to me and said, I read your story. Oh my God, I cried. It was so inspirational. And I saw how you did forgiveness. How do I do that? And then I thought, okay, well, they didn't make the leap. So what I did in this new book is I combined my programming side with my spiritual side. And it's Soul Ciphers Decoding a Life of Hope and Happiness. And the decodes are the takeaways. So people were asking me, they said, you're very happy. You must have a perfect life. How do you get through all of this? And I said, no, my life's not perfect. And it's just, I'm dealing with the same problems. It's how I approach them. And I have these little decodes at the end of each chapter, and it's things that you can put into practice. So one of the decodes might be, do you smile when you're alone? And put that into your conscious, because how many people only smile when they're around other people? And when you smile when you're alone, the reason I do is because I realized I never am. And it's a moment of that gratitude to my own life and what I've been given. And when you can share that, so that's one of the little decodes. Another one is, I love this one. And, we went on this beautiful cruise to Bermuda, had a great time. But I bet you if we did that same exact cruise again, it just would not be, I'd have this expectation that all these wonderful things are going to happen, and it's going to be totally different. Right. So the other part of life, and one of the other decodes I have, is have no expectation. Enjoy what you're going to see on this journey. This time there's going to be completely new things to experience. And if you have this, in your mind, the way it builds up, like if you have this, if you've ever been to a restaurant where you had the best meal you've ever had, there's a restaurant in Dallas I'll never go back to because it was the best steak I've ever eaten in my life.
And you'll never, and your expectations are going to be so big that, you know.
Exactly. And it's just not going to be the same. And it's going to ruin that. So I just lived through this good meal. But think about those things and what you can do to change how you have no expectations on things. So the book really has these beautiful decodes. I'm coming out with a 21 days to decoding a masterful life based upon these, because so many people I had, come from all over the world, give me feedback on the book. And I thought, well, I got to do this. So 3.5 years of work. I do have, this is the only print copy in existence right now, but October 3rd, you'll get that. I know. But
I love that because, first off, I love what you've done. I love the name because here's why. With the way society is, we're all about technology, right? And everything like that. So when I first saw this book and it says decoding a life of joy and happiness, I was like, that is so smart, because it's really going to grab people's, not only the people from the tech world, but the people from the spiritual world and the people who, all that kind of, or well-being world. And you've combined that. Yes. And I just love that. And I love the little decoding things at the end of each chapter, because I agree with you. Expectations, just to take that one and kind of go on a little bit. I know I have learned, just like you, that I cannot have those big expectations because it lets me down. And so then you go back the other way where you just enjoy it. And if it was great, then it's great. But, and then I love that. I would love to hear a couple more little decodes.
Yeah, I had I'll tell you the quick story. It's called No Limits. And what happened to me, I went on this on the Appalachian Trail and climbed the White Mountains, and I went 22 miles and 5,000 feet in 2 days. And I got out. It ended up being the hottest, most humid day of the year, and we were told the temperature was going to drop at the top of these peaks. And I summited 4 peaks. Now that's up, down, up, down. So think of being on a staircase for, let's say, everybody go out today, go to a building, let's say a 10-story building, and run all the way up to the top and then run all the way back down. I would love that at this point when I was on the Appalachian Trail, because these rocks, you had to climb them, and it was a huge staircase made out of boulders for hours. This was 20 hours. And I got to the point where I didn't think I was going to make it back. I thought I was going to be sleeping out there because I ran out of water. All these things happen, and you're separated from your group because some people are faster than others. You'd say, we're going to stop at the trailhead. So the other group, I'm by myself for at least an hour and a half, and there's no sound. Wow. So I had to use everything I had to just set these little goals. I'm going to make it to that rock, and I'm going to rest. And I knew if I rested there, it's just going to delay my time coming back. And I'd say, okay, now I made it to that rock. I'm going to go to the next one. And eventually I was at the peak again. And I could only rest for a second there because the longer you sit there, the longer it's going to take. So I kept doing this. And you know what changed in me? When I got back to the Y, I would swim like maybe 10 laps in the pool and get a little tired and say, I'm going to give it a rest now. I found that I was leaving a lot on the table. So the decode is, persevere, push yourself, find out where are you leaving things on the table in life. And that's really the decode. It's determining what else is in you. And I discovered there was something in me that I hadn't tapped before that pushed me to that next level. And climbing is probably one of the greatest things to discover what you're made of and what you can do. And when I got back to the house, I remember my brother sitting on the bench because he just said, I'm just going to keep going because if I stop, I'm going to stop forever. So he got back. He was sitting on the bench in front of the hut that we had to get back to. And he said, do you know where my physical and mental limits are? And I looked at him, and I was still holding myself up with my walking sticks. Right. He said, I left them on the trail about 2 hours ago. So we went way past that.
Well, that's, it's interesting because people who are listening they always think, okay, well, Robert, you can do it, or Patricia, you can do it. But there is no limits to what we can do. We just need to really realize that there's no limits, and then and just push ourselves, because everybody out there, I mean, at 57 years of age, and I'm hitting rock bottom, not even know if I was going to have a roof over my head. Some people were just giving up and, whatever, like put their hands and I'm done. But there are no limits. I am now in a much better place. I'm in the black in the world because I was like $140,000 in debt. And now it's like I'm in the black and life is good. I got money in the bank and things are moving the right way because I decided 57 wasn't going to limit me. Yeah. Nothing's going to limit me. 65 is not going to limit me.
Right.
You know, nothing limits you. And I think that people need to understand that there are no limits to life. So, okay, Robert, it's almost 10 o'clock, but I want to ask you a question, and then I want to make sure we get to where we can get a hold of you and all that stuff. But I have one question for you. So you're just, the elevator opens up. You're going to go up 10 flights in the elevator. You go in, there's somebody else in there with you, but you're stuck. Who is that person that you would love to be stuck with? Because you're going to be stuck there for about an hour. So who was that person that if you could have any choice at all that you want to be stuck with?
I'd have to say it's the big O. I'd have to be stuck with Oprah. I'd have to tell her one of these stories, and I know I'm going to make her cry when I do. So we're going to come out of that elevator crying our eyes out because it's going to be that kind of soul connection. So that's the person.
That's really cool. I love asking this question to people because everybody has somebody different, and it's just wonderful. And I love that. So, Robert, tell me first off, what is something that that you might want to let people know about a last, say, a verbiage or last sentence you might want to leave with people, whether you can get your book and all that kind of stuff. So tell me, what do you want to leave somebody with so that really they want to have more, you might say?
Yeah, well, the one thing that resonates with me is that whatever you're going through in life, know that it's shared. And it's almost as if when you're crying in the rain, for instance, know that those raindrops are touching somebody else's tears. And it's a shared thing.
I love that. He's got the best words every single day because the angel comes to you every single day, right? And gives you in your sleep. You have
pretty much.
Pretty much. I love that.
I just it's all day long. I get whatever. I'm inspired by almost everything, and even a fire extinguisher. I saw the word pressure on it, for instance, and the quote would be, "When you feel the weight of the world upon you, know that love will hold up anything as long as your faith does too."
That is awesome. So tell us where we can get a hold of you. I have your guide to the soul.com up. Yep. And when is your book? And is there anything else exciting? Well, you had a couple quick exciting things coming up. You told me briefly before. If you want to, just voice, we have just a couple minutes. So if you got something that you want to tell us that's exciting.
I do have a special on the book because I just want everybody to really get this in their hands. So right now it's on pre-order special for 99 cents on Amazon. And if you go to soulciphers.com, plug your order number in, you're going to get over $300 worth of gifts from amazing inspirational people. I've got Swami Sadashiva Tirtha, who wrote 21 Days of Joy. He's the Joy Man. His book is e-download that you'll get. So you're going to get all these amazing things. And I don't know, the little angel told me that I might be releasing the first 3 chapters prior to that for those people that have pre-ordered. So if you really want to get in there and read that, it's going to be there. So it's soulciphers.com. It's soulcyphers.com. And just go there. There's a book trailer and other things to inspire you.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So one other thing. So the name of your book is Soul Ciphers, Decoding a Life of Hope and Happiness. It's already a #1 bestseller. This is awesome. You know what, Robert? This has been fabulous. I can't believe it's just gone way too fast. I mean, 3.5 years when I saw you before, it's like, I just love this guy. So I'm very excited. So please, everybody, go get his book. Go to guidetothesoul.com. If you can't find it, it's just whatever, or his Facebook page. Your Facebook page is, what is it? Guide to the Soul, Facebook Guide to the Soul, right?
Yeah, if you just go to facebook.com/guide to the soul. Yep.
He's become one of his over 600,000 followers. So please go check. He's doing something right, and he's a fabulous guy. So thanks, everybody. I want to make sure I appreciate everybody. Thanks, Robert. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Remember that every Friday at night between 9:30 and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, my live show is on where we talk about home, inspiration, and life, and where every day we move people with heart. And I appreciate it. Go over to RahRahRealEstate.Love. Check out my free service. Let me help you. Robert, thank you so much.
This was
awesome, and we'll talk soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you, and we'll see you next Friday. Go out and make somebody smile. Bye, guys.